If you want to play awesome games on the Sega Saturn, this video is for you. Whether you're a long-time fan looking for new experiences, or you're new to Saturn and wondering where to start. Hell, even if you're a Saturn aficionado and just want some glorious gameplay to drool over. We're going to stuff the next 20 minutes full of gold to get you gaming. Because we're going to look at 5 of the very best titles for Sega's beautiful machine that are hard to get hold of. And it's putting people off. These are games that simply need more people playing them. And look, not only has Saturn and its library been underappreciated for a long time, not only have people long missed out on the wonders that are out there, but even as gamers come around to the brilliance of the machine, a lot of top quality releases still go under the radar. So specifically, these are amazing Saturn games that have been either unknown, unavailable, or out of reach to a lot of people for too long. They're too good to stay unplayed. And now, with the magic of modding, they're suddenly within your grasp. We'll tell you everything you need to know, why they're awesome, what's put them out of reach, and how you can play them. And we'll make it super easy, so if you want a bit of detail, it's right here. But if you just want the headlines, the vid is nicely chunked up for you so you can just jump to the good stuff. Now, first thing, this isn't a video primarily about how to mod your machine. Though, do reach out to us in comments or on socials if you want more details, as between us, we've tried most of the options that are out there. And at some point we'd be happy to do a full vid about that. Instead though, this is a video about why you should mod it. And the headline for that is simple. For the games. See, Saturn games have been getting crazy expensive. Some of the true gems are also incredibly rare. Japan has a huge library with hundreds of games that were unreleased in the West. And even though there are now loads of ways to import games without breaking the bank, you still need to defeat the region lock or get a Japanese machine, and even then, there are many brilliant titles where the Japanese retail version is all but unplayable without a translation. And the solution to all of these is to enable your machine to play ROMs. It can be any way you like. Whack a Saru in there, fire up a Fenrir, get yourself an action replay and burn a disc. But the key thing is, if you're a Western gamer and you want the full range of Saturn gaming, you need to modify your machine so you can mainline all that ROM magic straight into its 32-bit veins. And the games in this vid are 5 of the best examples. Because these beauties are all essentially unplayable for the average Western Saturn owner without a little modding intervention, and yet they are all absolutely, inarguably, wonderfully essential. So buckle up, pick your favourites, and before my drony voices even stop warbling on, go buy yourself a Fenrir. And with that, let's begin with a game that to Japanese Saturn fans, to the Japanese media, hell, to Sega, might be the definitive game of the Saturn era. It's Sakura Wars. This game launched the massive series and was itself a gigantic hit, with multiple hugely successful sequels, and if you check out Sega's corporate history, you can see they view it as part and parcel of their identity as a game developer and publisher. It's that huge in Japan, because while it's true that the series is now fairly well known in the West, games have been released on multiple consoles, a couple of them have had an English translation, it is still absolutely also true that it's nowhere near the level of acclaim over here that they received in their home market. And the fundamental reason is lack of localization. This Saturn original has never had an original translation from Sega or co-developers Red, and so, even if gamers have since cottoned onto the franchise, there simply isn't the legacy and historical resonance for the Western market. But there should be! Sakura Wars is a magical game. It's a dramatic adventure. It's primarily a visual novel, I guess, but mixed in with a crazy blend of RPG and action and strategy and dating sim and kind of point and click. It's funny and silly, but it's also dramatic and compelling. Mystery and action are intertwined with personal character-led drama, and it's all of these things together, that unique, undefinable, movable style that's so captivating. You just can't pin it down, and it makes it still feel fresh and inventive 3 decades later. Plus, is gorgeous. The anime cutscenes, the hand-drawn visuals, the unbelievably good soundtrack. They're all such high quality you won't believe this didn't get a worldwide release. And best of all, it has a fan translation. And it is itself an amazing, bewildering labour of love because Sakura Wars is text heavy with hours and hours of dialogue and other text-based elements to the game, and the translators have covered all of it. And it is genuinely first grade work. The translation is fluid and funny and characterful in a way you would never guess wasn't part of an official big budget production. But there's no retail release of that translation. You'll need a patched game ROM, either on an SD card or on a disc. And for that you'll need to mod your machine. Because, simple fact is, while Sakura Wars isn't crazily expensive, maybe somewhere between 50 to 150 quid for an import copy, and while it's not really rare, given how popular it was in Japan, so there's plenty of them going around, for anyone without fluent Japanese in their back pocket, it's a game that makes it essential to mod your Sega Saturn. But hey, who knows, maybe you're fluent or you have a very good relationship with Google Translate. But sorry, this next game is gonna test another of your faculties, your wallet. Because Game 2 is Elevator Action Returns, a brilliant, enigmatic, and incredibly expensive little number from Taito. And we're not kidding, the cheapest I've seen this anywhere recently is about 200 quid. And there are plenty of spurious listings out there for 5 or 6 or 700. But wow, is it worth it? This is one of those games that makes instant converts. People, me included, that have heard the name and not thought too much about it until they play it and realise in a flash that this is a stone cold classic. It's deceptively plain looking at first glance, in 2D, quite small sprites and a big grey concrete block of a first level. But right from the off, you're blasting and strategising, running to beat timers and leaping to dodge explosions, taking down scum, and generally thrilling at how tight gameplay, solid mechanics and brilliant pacing can make a game utterly timeless. Elevator Action Returns has layers. Base layer, you're roaming 2D platformer levels to reach milestone red doors, variously to collect documents or defuse bombs and things like that. Laid over that core is the tactics of navigating the layout. You can't just run and gun. There is indeed a fair bit of elevator action, with moving platforms of various types blocking you off or slowing you down without careful planning about how you're going to get around. Power-ups and bonuses and life tokens are peppered through the levels, found behind doors or in crates or on dead goons on the floor. But hunting them is at the expense of moving forwards, and every so often a panic klaxon will sound and you'll realise you're behind the clock, and wrapped around the objectives you've got the action, with a constant stream of bad guys emerging like fear from doorways and crates or dropping from roofs or the sky. Their tactics are simple, but they're varied, and the volume ebbs and flows brilliantly to ensure you never get settled. Sometimes a single shot kill of a lone hoodlum is all you need, someone that's dared to take you on. Sometimes you're manically blasting at a wave of rocket men swarming over you before you can escape. And over the top of that, a top layer over all of it is a beautiful garnish. Huge explosive cutscenes that give you fragments of plot, sprite scaling and bombastic arcade-style cinematics that would have been super impressive in the 90s, but now they're 10 times as brilliant as a piece of retro chic. It's camp and it's cliched and it's wild and it's fun. This is, simply put, a brilliantly crafted, thrilling, addictive game with a superb difficulty curve that lets you edge forward with every play, enjoying every second of manic blasting that gets you there. It would, without doubt, be worth the hundreds of pounds it now commands if only that money went in the pockets of the original beautiful devs rather than the PayPals of speculative collectors. And, as it never will, save your pennies for a Saru and put this puppy on an SD card. And while you're at it, load up a bit of game number 3. A wonderful, original release that I'd never even heard of before I got a Fenrir and started hunting down new titles, and it is Astra Superstars. Now, I'd be fascinated to know who out there does know this game. It was Japan only, it released right at the back end of '98, so most of the Western Saturn fans had started to give up and pack up and move on, and it's the kind of quirky fighting game that never really got a big market over here. It did get a decent bit of coverage in Sega Saturn magazine here in the UK, who by that point admittedly only really had the Japanese games left to cover. But if I ever clocked that in the 90s, I didn't remember it. But oh my god, I'll never forget it now. This is a fast and frenetic fighter with character coming out of its arse, fun hitting you between the eyes at every turn, and oddball Japanese styling making everything feel fresh and zippy. The moves are simple, but they're huge. One or two buttons unleashes huge blasts of magic or colour or combos or, stuff. The tactics are quick to pick up, but they're ever evolving. Like, it's one-on-one, so the base is familiar, but the combat is aerial, so you have extra fields of movement and new ways to play. The moveset, it's basic, so you learn it fast, but there's counters and dodges and rebounds and recoveries. So every battle unveils a little bit more about how to play it. And the range of characters and styles is broad, but it's not bewildering. And even though their moves are easy to pull off, you still need timing and judgment to make them land. It is this blend of simple and complex to something that just unveils itself over time. It is just a brilliant take on the fighting game. It's huge in its colourful action and its fluid gameplay. But you know what? If this were made by Capcom, maybe everyone would have been singing its praises and everyone would know it. But it's by Sunsoft. It's one of several games they made for the STV and brought to Saturn. The thing is, I'm not the only one who's noticed it's awesome, because these days you'd be paying a couple of £100 for a copy, and there are plenty out there that are going for 400 plus. You'll also need a 1MB RAM card. Something like Saru or Sudokai is a great bet to get you playing there. I can't deny I'm still tempted by the physical copy. It's beautiful and it's unique, and it really doesn't matter too much that the gameplay's in Japanese, so maybe. But the main thing is, you need to play it. So whatever you do, get yourself a copy. Whether it's a disc or a ROM or whatever, just get a copy and play. And I'm going to say the same thing for Game 4, which is Treasure's incredible, clever, frenetic, beautiful, timeless, unforgettable Radiant Silvergun. This is actually another STV beauty, and while you can now play it on PC and Switch, and Xbox 360, the links to Saturn really make that the spiritual home for the game. Sega and Treasure had a close relationship, I guess, with some of Mega Drive and Saturn's very best titles coming from those ex-Konami lads. Gunstar Heroes, Dynamite Headdy on Mega Drive, Guardian Heroes, Silhouette Mirage on Saturn, both of which, by the way, we'll probably mention again if we do a late one of these videos. So, there's something special about playing this Treasure game on a Sega. But, sorry to say, you'll pay through the nose for that privilege. Because this is another Japan-only release, and even though it's sold well enough for there to be plenty of copies out there on sale, it will still set you back at least £150 or so. But you can't let that stop you. This is a game that has to be played because, wow, what a special game it is. By the time Radiant Silvergun came out, shmups had almost burned themselves out. The arcades and then the consoles, not least Mega Drive, had been saturated with every variant of spaceship and laser and missile you could think of. And maybe that's just me, I guess they still always had their fans, but reviewers seemed sick of them. The mass market kind of seemed indifferent to them. So I guess this was, at the time, a gamble for Treasure. And the only reason it worked in that environment, that kind of we've had enough of shmups environment, is down to Treasure's feel for ingenious mechanics, for frenetic gameplay. Because Radiant Silvergun mixes 2D and 3D, visually and in the gameplay, in a way that's just fantastic, just magical, just brilliant. Like, scenery flows seamlessly into view and it's suddenly interactive. Crashing your ship or providing cover from the bullet hell chaos that's going on all around you. Bosses scream and twist around the screen, throwing polygon limbs at you and sprite-based weapons at you, and it's just all in this glorious synchronicity between the things that Saturn did amazingly, that Treasure did amazingly. Those graphics are a showpiece, but they're also integral to the play. And so's the weaponry. Treasure did something here. They opted to kick you out with everything from the off. They favoured a kind of tactical selection and quick thinking to the way you were playing over what I guess would have been patience and powering up your ship in other shooters. And that weapon choice they give you is meaningful. You have to pick quickly at speed through multiple options to pick off enemies based on, I guess, their attack pattern or position or aggression. It's kind of genius because it's just a tweak to what you do in, I guess, a standard shmup setup, but it completely overhauls the gameplay. And that gameplay is sublime. At one moment this game is bullet hell, at another it's a tactical shooter, and all the way through there's this system of colour-coded enemies giving you a score attack layer that just sits across everything. Playing it for the video, I honestly felt myself just grinning at some of the enemies. The bosses, they're just like nothing else. There's just wave after wave of ideas. It's tricky, shifting AI. It's beautiful, almost choreographed battles that you just can't quite believe you're fighting your way through. The game feels like a manic, dangerous dance where you're learning the moves on the fly, but somehow, as if you know what to do, you're staying in time. There's a tiny, tiny hitbox around your ship, and the stuff you get away with, it's just amazing. So, at first, Radiant Silvergun seemed impossibly hard. It did for me anyway, and I'll make no bones about it, I've whacked everything down to get this footage. But what you find is, Treasure provide this perfectly balanced curve that lets you inch into things, gradually find your feet, and then feel all the more satisfied as you overcome those challenges bit by bit. It is genuinely, wonderfully, unbelievably brilliant, and you really only have two choices. Go borrow 150 quid, get this game in your Saturn, or go mod your Saturn right this second. Wait, not quite this second, because here's game 5. Policenauts! And what a way to finish, because this is a unique, captivating, wonderful game. It's an original, brilliant experience. It's a work of artistry from one of gaming's most famous auteurs. And it's a fantastic, enigmatic, idiosyncratic bit of gaming history that you just cannot miss out on. And you know what? It's not even that expensive. A mere 12,000 yen will send a disc from Japan to your grubby little bits. That's about 60 quid, by the way. Hurrah! But, sorry, hold your hurrahs, because there's still a catch. The game has never been officially localised, so sorry chums, your cheapo import dreams might be turning to sweaty nightmares unless you've got a bloody good Japanese dictionary right next to you. Because Policenauts is undoubtedly text and speech heavy. There is simply no way you'll get anything from it unless you speak the lingo, which basically leaves you two choices. Give up and become a monk, or hunt down the wonderful fan translation and play it via a modded Saturn. It's okay, now you can hurrah. Because, wonder of wonders, the fan translation is also utterly brilliant. It's charismatic and witty and perfectly matched to the gameplay, and best of all, it's totally, utterly, completely free. As long as you, yes, you guessed it, mod your Saturn. Just a quick point, the game is also on PlayStation, and that has also had a fan translation, but trust us, that is not the way to play. The game's creator, Hideo Kojima, publicly has said the Saturn version is the best. Better video, better frame rate, better everything. So yes, play it on Saturn. But I suppose we also need to add, why play Policenauts at all? Well, first off, it's a wonderful time capsule of Hideo Kojima's mind. Before Metal Gear Solid made Kojima that household name, Snatcher and then Policenauts were his outlets for the cinematic action-adventure stories that he wanted to tell. In all its cinematography, in all its idiosyncrasy, in all its smutty, action-packed, deeply plotted adventure, it is always, inarguably, Kojima through and through. Secondly, this type of game just isn't really around anymore. Hell, I mean, it wasn't really around then if you were gaming outside Japan. It's not a movie, it's interactive, and it's not point and click like a game, it's too cinematic. It's not really like anything else, it's just its own thing. And however you like your retro, you'll love the feel of this game, if nothing else. At some point in the next few weeks, we'll have a long form podcast about it in the book club, and we'll get into the detail, but don't wait for that. Get yourself a Saturn, get yourself a Fenrir, and get yourself a patched ROM, because Policenauts is another perfect reason to mod your Sega Saturn. And hopefully, after those 5 beautiful games, you're now convinced to go do it. Like I say, if you've got anything that you want to ask us about how to mod it, if you're familiar with it and have any suggestions for us, we'd love to hear them. But for now, all there is to say is take it easy, gaming guys and girls, and keep it locked here on Gaming for Ages for more retro goodness soon. Laters.